What if the greatest enemy of Israel, just 8 days after a devastating invasion, helped them destroy a critical strategic asset? What if the pilots who saved the Jewish state from a nuclear-armed Iraq flew under the flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran? On September 30, 1980, just 8 days after Saddam Hussein launched a full-scale ground invasion of Iran, for Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force F-4E Phantom IIs thundered across the border into Iraqi airspace. Their target was not a frontline Iraqi division, but a facility 17 kilometers southeast of Baghdad, the Osirak nuclear reactor. This was Operation Scorched Sword, the world's first attack on a nuclear reactor, and it was carried out with the secret blessing and coordination of Israel. To understand this moment, we must look at the shifting sands of Middle Eastern geopolitics. Before the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran under the Shah was Israel's closest ally in the Muslim world, a key plank in Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion's periphery doctrine. But with the rise of Ayatollah Khomeini, Tehran became officially hostile to the little Satan, Israel. However, a new, more immediate threat emerged in Baghdad. Saddam Hussein, armed with French promises, was constructing a 40-megawatt Osiris-class nuclear reactor at the Al Tuwaitha nuclear research facility. To Israel, this was a mortal threat. Despite the fiery rhetoric from Tehran, a cold calculation was made. The newly formed Islamic Republic, purged of much of its senior military leadership and under a harsh U.S. arms embargo following the hostage crisis, was being bled white by the Iraqi invasion. Its air force, equipped with American F-4s and F-14s, was grounded by a lack of spare parts. Israel saw an opportunity. As author Trita Parsi notes, Israel viewed its security as needing alliances with non-Arab states on the periphery. A weakened Iran served no one, a victorious Saddam did. By the summer of 1980, the situation was critical. Israeli intelligence, Mossad, had been unable to stop the reactor's progress. French technicians were on site. The core was being installed. Baghdad was defended by a formidable network of SA-6 gainful missiles and state-of-the-art French Roland 2 mobile anti-aircraft batteries, ringed by dozens of 23mm and 57mm radar-guided anti-aircraft guns. With American satellite imagery cut off, Israel was blind. But they had one remaining asset, their old friends in the Iranian Air Force, the IRIAF. In a desperate gamble, Israeli officials reached out. The deal was simple: Israel would provide the vital American-made spare parts to keep Iran's Phantoms flying, including the tires needed for this very mission, and in return, Iran would use those very Phantoms to bomb Iraq's nuclear dream. At dawn, the 4 Phantoms from the 33rd Tactical Fighter Squadron, based at Nojay Air Base near Hamadan, approached their target. The risk was incalculable. They had no recent satellite photos. They didn't know if the reactor core had been loaded. A successful strike on a fueled reactor could have unleashed a radioactive cloud over Baghdad, a moral and political catastrophe for Iran. As they roared over the Iraqi desert at treetop height, the pilots knew that a single radar lock by a Roland battery meant certain death. The lead pilot, his eyes straining against the horizon, pulled up briefly, just enough for his radar to paint the target. In the cockpit, the air was thick with the smell of jet fuel and sweat. This was the moment of no return. Little did they know, as they armed their 6 Mk.82 500-pound bombs, that the entire Western intelligence community was watching, wrongly assuming these were Israeli aircraft in Iranian colors. The decoy flight broke off, heading for Baghdad to drop their bombs on a power station, plunging the capital into darkness for 2 days. The main strike flight, just 2 Phantoms, dove on Al Tuwaitha. In a matter of seconds, they released their ordnance. The bombs fell true. Witnesses saw 2 of them bounce off the massive concrete dome of the reactor itself. They didn't penetrate the core, but they devastated the surrounding complex, the piping, the cooling pumps, the control rooms, and the laboratories. Within 15 seconds, the heart of Iraq's nuclear program was in flames. The Phantoms, never slowing, were already screaming back towards the Iranian border. The damage was not total, but the psychological blow was immense. Hundreds of French and Italian technicians fled the site, halting work for months. Just over a month later, on November 30th, an Iranian RF-4E reconnaissance Phantom raced back over the facility at supersonic speed. The intelligence it gathered, the bomb damage assessment, was placed in a metal case and handed over to Israel via a 707 airliner, delivering the very arms that made the raid possible. This daring intelligence sharing directly enabled Operation Opera on June 7, 1981, when 8 Israeli F-16s, using the data from their Iranian allies, finished the job, completely destroying the reactor and forever changing the rules of preemptive warfare. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to World War II Records as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.